Let's execute an immediate high-gear tactical vector shift back to the monumental, calculation-heavy tracking grids of 18th century warfare, cross-era temporal displacement mechanics, and high-frequency familial survival. We are crossing the threshold directly into the smoking, blood-soaked battlefields of the American Revolution, with written in my own heart's blood, the exceptional, rapid-pulsing 8th entry that serves as a massive structural milestone for the globally dominant Outlander series by the reigning sovereign of historical scale, Diana Gabaldon. This landmark deployment delivers a thrilling, deeply strategic exploration of geopolitical chaos, high-stakes medical espionage, and intense personal liberty hunting. Let's lay out the strategic narrative grid. If you are a fan of sprawling, high-octane historical adventures where a resilient, multi-generational protagonist network must navigate an absolute maze of colonial battle lines, sudden time travel parameters, and lethal domestic espionage loops, where an analytical mind uses modern surgical tradecraft, historical hindsight vectors, and deep defensive positioning to protect an entire clan from institutional destruction, and where the author utilizes an incandescent, shattered family units reverberating across centuries diagnostic routine to test our hero's structural survival perimeters, this book is engineered to lock you in. Gabaldon completely dominates the period warfare noir dynamic, capturing the heart-racing momentum, intense physical friction, and deep socioeconomic analysis popularized by genre titans like Winston Graham, Ken Follett, Sharon K. Penman, and Bernard Cornwell, while treating 18th century military logistics, ballistic trauma medicine, and temporal causality mechanics with absolute technical mastery. The narrative tracking grid zeroes in on our core protagonist matrix, Claire and Jamie Fraser. They are the ultimate blueprint of historical resilience, navigating the highly volatile year of 1778, where the British Army is evacuating Philadelphia and George Washington's Continental forces are marching towards an absolute high-velocity collision at the Battle of Monmouth. Their daily workspace is an unforgiving, toxic ecosystem of active military encampments, field hospitals, and shifting political loyalties. Claire's internal defense mechanisms are locked down tight behind her elite medical profiling instincts, her entire analytical focus strictly consumed by triaging horrific battlefield injuries, managing scarce pharmaceutical resources, and guarding her family from the predatory whims of both British and Continental intelligence assets. The spark ignites when Jamie Fraser returns from a presumed watery grave to find his active domestic perimeter completely transformed. Thinking him dead, Claire has been forced to marry his closest friend, Lord John Grey, for protective political coverage. The local diagnostic metrics flatline instantly across the entire clan layout. This massive emotional anomaly creates an immediate, highly volatile structural matrix where fractured loyalties, military obligations, and private grief threaten to tear their defensive unit to pieces. Rather than collapse under the pressure of this multi-tiered domestic crisis, our protagonists initiate immediate, hyper-focused survival maneuvers as the British Army's tracking lines close in around them. The tactical parameters instantly explode across separate historical centuries as the narrative tracking matrix expands to include their daughter Brianna and her husband Roger Mackenzie in the year 1980. Their modern sanctuary at Lallybroch has suffered an absolute security failure. Their son has been abducted by a ruthless temporal rogue searching for hidden Fraser gold, forcing Roger to execute a high-risk time travel jump into the past to run an aggressive recovery operation, leaving Brianna to defend her remaining assets against modern criminal incursions. Back in the 18th century, as Jamie takes command of a Continental regiment and Claire faces the looming threat of an executioner's rope for treason, their dual timeline survival instincts engage their final deployment tracks. Every midnight dispatch audit, every close-quarter surgical patch-up under enemy artillery fire, and every desperate jump through the standing stones chips away at their reliance on peaceful frameworks. What follows is an exceptional, high-stakes war of perspective, military positioning, and raw human grit. We watch the mechanics of early American Revolution completely unwrapped, as Gabaldon reveals how individual choices on the battlefield can trigger a massive cascade across historical timelines, forcing our heroes to fight for their lives on two separate fronts. While the family units smooth over each other's tactical blind spots with devastating analytical force, a brutal series of military ambushes and domestic betrayals shifts the tracking clock into its final phase, proving that the executioners have detected their positions. To survive the impending lock grid trap and outmaneuver the forces running the war, our resilient protagonists must unleash an absolute unyielding defense of their bloodline. It is a historical fiction, time travel suspense, military romance, high-velocity family drama masterpiece that treats deep historical logistics and intense cross-era friction with elite precision. The tension here burns with a sharp, calculation-heavy intensity. We are talking about that high-frequency, one misplaced historical detail means a permanent timeline delete energy, where a sudden artillery barrage at Monmouth, an unexpected alignment of modern stalkers and ancient secrets, or a heavy, possessive realization that your true love is operating behind enemy lines carries massive structural weight. Gabaldon writes with an exceptionally fresh, vivid, and beautifully blunt voice, perfectly capturing the damp, sulfurous smoke of battlefield skirmishes, the sterile, high-stakes quiet of 20th century family archives, and the distinct, subtle scent of black powder, herbal poultices, old parchment, fresh mud, and pure, unadulterated suspense. What truly elevates this milestone epic thriller into elite territory is the author's unmatched ability to balance realistic period economics and genuine battlefield medicine alongside a breathtaking narrative pace and deep emotional hooks. Our protagonists don't rely on unbelievable, superficial Hollywood superhero action tropes. Their immense situational intelligence, strategic patience, and profound love for one another match the complexity of the chaotic historical underworld they dominate step for step, making their choices to risk everything feel profoundly authentic and deeply gripping. The pacing moves with calculated momentum, tracking intense tactical standoffs and breathtaking forensic breakthroughs, before ratcheting up to an absolute jaw-dropping final reunion that delivers total, hard-earned closure to their horizon. Written in my own heart's blood is the definitive, pro-level upgrade your high-stakes historical suspense and epic romantic fiction library demands right now. It is elegant, immensely fast-paced, and utterly unputtable. It proves that when your entire existence is targeted by the cold, calculating gears of history itself, the most revolutionary play you can execute is to stand your ground, protect your clan, and fight like hell across every century to claim your freedom. So secure your personal reading sanctuary, review your emotional defensive perimeters, open your Kindle, and prepare to cross the timeline.